Welcome to the Toolbox with another great tool regarding actually to sleep and the parts of sleep regarding to your study results. And it's amazing, but studies has shown that sleep is going to impact your study results and even GPA results and your GPA score, average score. So it's important to deal with that. There's a clear link between sleep and study results overall, and let's dive into it. So first of all, there are two factors that are important. It's sleep duration and the so-called sleep-wake timing or sleep-wake time. And though both of them are relevant on its own, but let's dive into it because some studies have been showing some interesting findings. First of all, on sleep duration. And sleep duration has been shown over the last years by several studies, which I give here some references, that when you shorten your sleep, overall you will live less long. I mean, it's been shown shorter sleep on average gives a shorter time span in your life. But also on productivity, people who sleep, let's say 5 to 6 hours have been shown to be 20% less productive. And if it goes even less than 5 hours, that productivity drops by 30%. So it's a massive impact it has. Also, people that sleep only 6 hours on average, any task that requires focus, deep thinking, problem solving gets a lot harder. So imagine that if you're a student, well, focus and deep thinking and problem solving is something you need, right? And sleep deprivation over time, well, it shows that, look, hey, if you're going to reduce that, if you're going to reduce your hours of sleep, if you're going to impact your sleep in duration, that any activity that requires complexity in any format will be much more difficult to manage. So that is something new to keep in mind, that, yeah, your sleep duration is very important. So there's also another element which is very critical, and it's independent from sleep duration. It's so-called sleep-wake cycles. What does it mean by that? If you have a regular sleep, it impacts your overall well-being, but also your study results. And this here, the study published in 2017, quite recently, showing that irregular sleep-wake patterns are associated with poor academic performance and delayed circadian and sleep-wake timing. Basically, if you go to bed at various different timing and you wake up on different timing, and that variation of going to bed and waking up is fluctuating each time, your body tries to cope with that. And your body is doing a good job, but if you really mess up every single night by fluctuating it, it will impact your life and your cognitive abilities and even your study results. So the results they found from this study is the following. Sleep regularity is independent of sleep duration, so there are two factors. Both of them are important, as I just mentioned. And also they noticed that irregular sleepers have delayed sleep time and more daytime sleep. Obviously, they say that irregular sleepers have lower amplitude light rhythm, meaning that your circadian cycle is getting disturbed. Specifically, that they show that a delayed onset of a melatonin secretion. What does it mean? That the melatonin secretion is being postponed. And that is also predicted by the patterns of lead exposure. So when each time you fluctuate your waking up and going to bed, your body doesn't know when to produce this melatonin, which is actually a regulator of your sleep. And they also found in that study that sleep regularity is positively associated with academic performance. So therefore very relevant for you to know. So I go to more in detail here because it's very, very relevant. So they had the so-called Sleep Regularity Index, SRI, has a positive linear correlation with grade point average in the whole sample. So the GPA is linear linked with this CRI index, with the Sleep Regularity Index. So it even noticed that like an increase of 10 units in that index was associated with an average increase of 0.1 in GPA. For, as you know, the median GPA at Harvard has been recently estimated to be 3.64 with the maximum possibility of 4. But even by just regulating your sleep, meaning going to bed at a fixed time or waking up around more or less a fixed time, that will help already your GPA. So there's another finding. There's no significant linear correlation between sleep duration and this index, or sleep duration and GPA. Nevertheless, we know that sleep duration has impact on your cognitive abilities. But in that specific study, the way they measured, they couldn't find a correlation. They also said, look, it is amazing to see a positive, robust relationship between sleep regularity and academic grades. But they also point out, look, it's the association, they cannot determine causality. And that's something that is an academic way of saying it. But nevertheless, they show a positive association between both sleep regularity. To give you like a figure here, and more specifically, if you look at the regular sleepers and irregular sleeper in red, on the left you see the percentage of time asleep versus right eliminants, which okay, ignore it here for that's done in their study. But if you look at the left, regular and irregular, then you see this dark gray block, which shows that the night clock time by 10 p.m. to 10 a.m. And you see that the regular sleepers, they have lesser fluctuation. While irregular sleepers, okay, they go to bed later, in frequent times, so there's much more a variation in their sleeping pattern. So having more a regular sleeping pattern, going to bed and waking up, shows a huge impact on their studies. Of course, it's important to know that duration is still important because we know it's associated with cognitive impairments, including reaction time was getting messy, reduced cognitive throughput, output, motor vehicle accidents, early mortality, what I just mentioned, elevated risk for metabolic disorders, is obesity, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, also psychiatric disorders. So, but they acknowledge here that sleep is a multidimensional, so there are many factors, but still they notice that sleep duration on its own is very relevant, of course. But also the sleep-wake cycle is very, very relevant. So be aware that taking attention to both these factors are very, very, very important for your studies, but also for your overall well-being. Sleep duration and regular sleep-waking time, and that's so to respect both, requiring some discipline, is going to be very critical, and it's an easy way to move forward. So it's the fastest and easiest intervention you can do, beside your studying, and to improve your study results, is at least respect your sleep. Have a good, let's say, habit of going to bed at the same time, waking up at the same time, having that frequency, making sure that the duration is long enough for you. On average, for students, it tends to be 7-8 hours. Sometimes it's more, but that's a good ratio. If you go shorter than that, then I would be really careful. If you go longer, then most of the time it's pretty much okay. But it's important to pay attention to that. So really, I hope these data show that, look, it's so relevant for you to take care of this. It's so easy to mess that up as a student. I made that mistake frequently. But look, this data is super critical to follow and to implement in your as a habit, as a healthy habit when you are a student. So you got this. I'm sure you got this. Implement it. Try it out. Let me know in the comments how it's going. If this video is relevant for you, feel free to like it. Follow me on my channel for later, and I'll see you there for more. Bye-bye.